This is a 3D origami heart. Let's learn. You will need some 6x6 origami paper. I like the one that has an inside color. In this case, it's white and red. And then I have a popsicle stick for creasing. I have a little toothpick to pick up some of the glue. This will help seal the final design, but also because it's a very difficult fold, I'll show you how it's a little bit easier by gluing a few steps. Take your sheet and fold it in half. Be very precise in every single fold. And in half again. Now you've done both sides. You have sort of a cross. You will go to the middle, but only on one side. Take your time. Each fold needs to be very crisp. Fold in half, and now you can see two peaks. You will grab this edge, keeping everything flat together, and the center, and fold a triangle from the center to that line that we've created. Once you're confident, crease. When you open up, now you have a guide. This is very important because I can fold to that guide and continue the fold. Creating this guide, open. Now you see it from the bottom. Do the same thing. So it will fold easy from one side, but the other side you have to just follow that line and then crease. Rotate counterclockwise and you'll notice a very interesting pattern. You have some lines being created and we'll create more lines of equal size, and then you have this triangle. It's always facing you and this one is facing to the left for now. Fold that corner onto the main triangle, and what you'll notice is that there shouldn't be a lot of white peeking. It should fold perfectly onto it. Now follow this guide and fold the top portion. And now the bottom can join this line. This is where having that white color is very helpful because you can see exactly where you line up. And now you can fold the bottom one more time. Now let's see what we have. We can go ahead to this line. We are missing a line right over here, and you achieve that by bringing the bottom to the second from the top. Now you have all of these lines all equal size. Turn everything over and watch how this is still towards you and this is still on the left side. You will go ahead and fold it in onto that triangle. And now see where you have a guide. I can see the line in the middle. So I'll go towards that line from the top. Now I created this line so I can fold the top in half. I can go ahead from the bottom all the way to the second one. And now I can go from the bottom to this one, second from bottom. Take your time. This needs to be precise. Okay, so I have this one, that one, this one, and I'm missing one more here, and I'll go from the top to the second to bottom. There we go. I should have all the parallel lines done. Now I can open it up. You see there's a very strong line across, and you want to fold crossing that strong line. And you've achieved the perfect fold when this is now to your right and the bottom triangle is towards you. And you do exactly the same thing, except now your lines should be onto the design. So really all you have to do is follow those lines and crease. Be careful, make sure it still lines up like it should. And now turn everything over, rotate, and you're in that exact same position. And you can see there's one line that is not exactly crisp, that's over here. Hopefully that doesn't cause any issues, but you're doing exactly the same thing. You're creasing everything just like before. Do not rush through this phase. It is easy to make a mistake. You are now done with all the creasing. You open and you rotate until you see a very strong triangle here. And that's where you fold in half. So you can continue seeing that strong triangle outline. You're gonna take, again, center point and that edge, keeping everything flat, and fold a triangle. This is a very important fold. It needs to be precise. Once it's done, rotate and do exactly the same thing onto this line. From the center to that guiding line. And now you are ready to fold. When you open things up, you notice already that there are two identical edges. Those sides will be used to shape the heart. So if you just press in, you will see how this closes, just like so. And you notice the same thing from the other side. So let's do one side at a time. So it doesn't matter which side you pick, but you can see that this closes on itself. And what you have here is a guide just over here, and you can fold onto that guide. What you also notice is that there's also a line here, and it will help create the bottom shape. Once you formed that first fold down, you notice there's an inner triangle. That is the triangle you need to collapse. But as you're doing that, just use your fingers to pop. If your fingers are too big, use your popsicle stick, but you need to pop this side. Okay, you've collapsed that triangle. You're now from here going to put everything on the left side and hold it with your fingers. This is a very important shape that you formed. It's sort of a rectangle that's just missing a little triangle over here. But get used to that rectangular shape. That means you folded everything correctly. If you have a weird shape, That means you're not folding correctly. So this is the shape you're looking for. And I chose to put everything on the left side and clip it with my fingers. You could have picked the right side. It looks exactly the same, but I prefer the left side. Now you can pinch the center, and you will need to fold one more layer, which is this guide over here. So when you have everything pinched, remember the left side is a little thicker. Just use your fingers to help you, but you will need to pinch all of that together and crease. So now you have one side of the heart. So you have the bottom and the top, and let's leave it for now. The other side is folded slightly differently. So like before, we will do that main fold, the big one. But here's the difference. We're not going to fold these edges. We're going to fold along the lines of this triangle. Okay, you can see that shape. So you're creasing it. And as I crease it, I notice that I have a collapsing situation here. So when that happens, just give it a bit of a fold and push with your finger on the inside. So I'm just giving a little push. So now when I collapse that triangle, again, I need to have that on the outside and fold it nicely. So nothing is collapsed in a weird way. So once you collapse following that line, now notice how everything folds onto the right. So if on the other side it folds and I kept everything together on the left side here, this is going onto the right and I hold everything together. Now from here, you have a little white edge exposed. If you're in the same stage as me, you should see this. Now from here, I'm going to fit my finger right over here, and I am going to collapse that little corner. And also I am following every single line that we made to help me. But what we need to achieve here, because there's a few ways. I could just collapse things like this, but that's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for that rectangular shape. So I rather form that rectangle first. So see, to achieve the rectangle, that white edge folds. Take your time here. So you fold, and then you fold like this. I spent a long time on this edge. It was very difficult to understand how to achieve that rectangular shape and collapse it properly. And really the secret was this comes down, yes, but this, that's why you have your finger in, it folds. So you can see it fold, and then there's a little bit of an accordion, a zigzag, a Z on the left side. And this gives you that shape. Now, this is a hack at this stage where you could use some glue. You can continue, this is origami, you can continue right up until the end with no glue, but this will help you because as you can see, even this one is coming a little bit apart and this one is already coming apart. If I simply add a tiny bit of glue, that's why you're using a toothpick, a tiny bit to hold these in place, or rather, yeah, these ones, it will be a lot easier. So without further ado, I have regular glue, paper glue, craft glue. I like to poke a hole from the top and just wait for the glue to come out just a little bit. And now once again, we cannot put too much glue. So I'm going to put a little bit here and squeeze. And a little bit on the other side. And now maybe in between this one. Do not apply a thick layer because this is already very thin paper. So just a tiny bit to hold everything in place so it doesn't jump at you. So now I feel pretty good about how it's holding. And we will need another fold that we will then unfold. Okay, it will make sense, but you can see that deeper triangle. Again, if you hold in the center and you squeeze around, you will be able to have that crease. That crease will be important for the end fold. So you go ahead and you crease. So what you've achieved now on both sides, although they are not folded in the same way, you achieved this. Now the side you just folded, you unfold it because really all you needed is that crease. Now you don't need the crease anymore and you can go ahead and take it out. So you have a shorter edge and a deeper edge. And now what you also have is this triangle shape. You see the little triangle and then there's a line in the middle. So that triangle you can collapse by just squeezing. Again, if anything inside collapses, pop it out. This is what's fun about this 3D design. It's very easy. And now notice how this edge comes off. We didn't glue anything, but that's cool because now I can tuck in this behind that long fold that we did. But it's super fragile and I'm just gonna glue here on the very top to keep things together. I can't crease it all the way without collapsing the heart. So I only wanna apply a tiny bit of glue here just to keep this folded. So I'm adding a tiny bit of glue. Again, this is an optional step if you're really good at folding origami. You don't need to do this step, but it will help you. So you have it collapsed. This is the triangle. That requires a little bit of support. And now when I fold that longer border, overlapping that triangle that we just squeezed, now this side is really starting to shape up nicely. I like this quite a bit. Now we do the same thing from the other side, but before we go there, I want you to notice that there's a downward hill here, and right in the center, there's a way for you to collapse those triangles and pre-fold them for next step. So see, we're just going to try to pre-collapse them so that it's going to be easy for the end. Go with the lines of each triangle. So this is sort of the pre-collapsing I will do. Okay, we are ready to go to the other side. You should see exactly the same thing happening. We will have that triangle and a line down the middle, and you're able to collapse that little tiny triangle and fold it under this longer edge. Remember, that was the first side we folded. So make sure you collapse your triangle. You have the edge slightly open. That's because we're going to go ahead and apply a tiny bit of glue. Just a tiny bit to keep things together. Now, as I fold the edge, I have a tiny bit of glue. Do not overdo it with the glue. You see, I didn't go ahead and just put glue in that entire crease. The more glue you have, the worse your next steps will be. So really just a little dab. Once again, you have that line going down. You can see where actually your little triangle collapsed together. This is where you fold in. What you're trying to do is gently pre-crease these triangles. You will need it for the last phase. The last phase is already shaping up quite nicely. So I have on the opposite side that very second side that we folded. And you can see that rectangle from this side. So what's going to happen is you're going to make sure that this is secure though. So here I'm just troubleshooting where things are detaching or where I need to pop things up. But remember, this was one of the collapsible edges and this one was also a collapsible edge. And now you can notice that already we have the top forming. This is going to be a key portion of the heart. And the second portion is going to be these. Again, you see the triangle inside, sorry, the rectangle inside. And when you collapse the sides and bring these in, you're able to tuck these in. And here is where your closure will be. So this portion will close your triangle. So you're squeezing this inside and it will come together. This is a very fragile state, but you bring it together and you can see that it's pretty much closed, and you see where do you need to troubleshoot your crease. So here I need a little bit more help to crease this way, and I need a little bit more help to crease here so that it closes properly. So I go ahead and do that. Once again, we're in that same phase. If your fingers are too big, just use the popsicle stick. If you've accidentally collapsed something, this is the time to troubleshoot. See, this side completely collapsed, so we're going to pop it. So go ahead and try to close again. And you reach this phase where technically you are done. You fix the crease, this folds, and there are two options. The no glue option is to go all the way and tuck it in. And again, if you haven't used glue this whole time, this is where you end up. So you just have a crease inside. I don't find it super appealing, although it holds things nicely. So I line it up better. And I'm going to apply a little bit of glue for it to hold its final shape, because I prefer just this as the top. And it just makes for a seamless design. And in order to get there, there's no way without glue, because it just, it wants to pop open. So I'm going to go ahead and grab a tiny bit of glue once again and apply right over here. This is where things will close. And I need this to be a strong edge. Again, I don't overdo it. It's just a small layer. And then I will hold this in place for a little bit. And I'm holding it in place right up until the glue has finished drying. I don't worry about the openings here for now. I can fix those later. All I'm worried about is for that middle section to come together. So I hold this position for a few seconds. We wait for things to dry. Don't rush this part. We're almost there. A little bit longer. Maybe this is the time to show some footage of Tiger. It's for you. Now I can let go and it's holding. So all I'm doing is fixing a little bit on this side. And this looks perfect. You have a 3D heart. And if you want, you can write a secret message inside, and it will be something that your significant other can open. Or simply, if you want to challenge yourself in origami, this is probably for me a 9 out of 10 and almost impossible without the support of glue. I hope you enjoyed this one.